Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Business Dashboard on Citi TV. My name is Bobi Osei. Coming up on the dashboard today, freight forwarders begin strike in full force as they intensify protest against the implementation of the cargo tracking note system. Also, sacked workers of Beige Bank unsure about exit packages following their abrupt termination of their contract. Still to come on the dashboard, another disclaimer hits defunct UT Bank as Lushan Energy denies claims of owing the bank. And later, Petroleum Commission connects Ghanaian companies with international ones as it develops operations in the country's upstream petroleum sector. Details of these stories and many more, including exclusive interviews, analysis on the trending business issues, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Let's take our first story. Now, freight forwarders in Tema today commenced their strike over their disagreement with the implementation of the cargo tracking note (CTN) system at the port. According to them, the policy, when implemented by the government, will impede trade facilitation. Citi News' Tema correspondent Elvis Washington visited the Tema port and has filed this report.
I'm here at the long room at the Tema port where freight forwarders are unhappy with the CTN, and then today they have actually declared this day as a day where no freight forwarder is actually going to pay freight. So if you come to the long room here, you can hardly see any activity going on here where a freight forwarder is actually going into a banking hall to pay freight.
What is the law that mandates or that gives authority to the CTN? Because CTN talks about penalties. For the best of our knowledge, when a semblance of this process was attempted in 2015, we know there is LI 2190 backing it, but it was called off. LI 2190 is under the Shippers Authority. Okay, so we answered that question there. With what authority in terms of penalty come in? It is only the Parliament of Ghana that gives that authority.
We are back on the strike concerning the CTN. Yeah. So we want to stop it. We don't want those who are interested in their pocket to get anything. This thing, it will go to the last consumer, because as we are here to stop it. Automatically, at the end of the day, it will be pushed to the last consumer.
There are people behind who are doing this thing. We are very, very much aware. We are very, very much aware. So we want to crash that syndicate. Yes, it's a syndicate. It's like some group of people go to some sort of consultant, and then it's like, oh, come and push this now around. You're making so much money. Okay? Nothing is coming to the government. This is what people must know. What the Director General is saying in the papers today is wrong. That CTN is not going to have any knowing what they're going to pay. But that's not true.
It's the long today freight forwarders have decided to embark on a strike of not paying duty for 3 days. To them, CTN policy must be scrapped, and until such time they will demonstrate, they will not pay duty for 3 days to register their protest. For Citi News, Elvis Washington reporting from the long room at the Tema port.
Meanwhile, former presidents of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, GIF, have condemned the strike action organized by the current leadership. A statement issued by 3 of the former presidents explained that the policy will enable a level playing field in the current customs duty payments and valuation regime, hence their support for the CTN. The former president of GIF also believed that the decision of the current leadership of the freight forwarders to resist the implementation of the CTN is self-serving and does not inure to the benefit of the Ghanaian consumer. Let's listen to Frank Sapong, who is a former president of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders.
I'm saying that cost will help the industry create an even playing field in the industry for us. So you see, it's not only we, the past president, that is supporting, but there are a whole lot of silent people who agree that it is to come. But they are afraid of what others will do to them, the way they will solve them and the rest. This is a policy that is going to help Ghana, even apart from value.
Well, still staying with the story, I have been joined in the studio by the Executive Secretary of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, Eddie Acrong. Sir, welcome to the Business Dashboard.
Thanks for having me.
Great. So, I mean, you've started your strike. I mean, would you describe it as being successful so far?
Of course I will. And this is running around the whole country as it stands. I mean, it's not just Tema. This is running through all the districts in which we operate and at all the port entries. So we have Alubo, Aflao, KIA, Takrady, and it's running through. So I think it's been very successful.
But why this action, essentially?
See, the whole idea is we've been running at this for like 6 months, trying to get the government to listen. We sent letters to the GRA, you know, the Commissioner General. He has refused, you know, he has not even acknowledged receipt of this. And we made a whole document. The interesting part is that the Vice President whom we sent the letter actually invited us. This was in February, way back. And so we sent this document on the 13th of February. By 16th, he had done the first suspension letter. Way down the line, they thought we were going to bring it around again. We said, okay, we're all called around to the table. And then by the 28th of May, they had suspended it again. This time was a very interesting letter because it was not just to suspend it, but to actually explain the reasons why they were going to suspend it. And it's very interesting because the committee, some of the recommendations that we made had been taken on. So a committee had been formed to look at the manifest system. So they realized when the manifest committee was formed, what it could do was way more than what the CTN could do. So they said, look, it was going to be superfluous if you know, CTN was going to allow it to stand. So he says, look, take it off, suspend it. They come back again, and they say, look, they still want to do it. So we know there is more to it than just meets the eye.
Okay, so I mean, the cargo tracking node system, the CTN, essentially, you find that there are people who are supporting it. In the report we just played, I mean, a former president of your institute is supporting it and saying that what you're doing is self-serving. Now, your strike action today disrupted activities at the port. I mean, looking back at the effect that you've had, I mean, can you talk to the impact of today's strike?
Exactly, because you know what? At the end of the day, the whole idea was not, look, we're not just interested in, you know, striking for purpose of getting, you know, bringing the government down. No, we would want a listening ear because we think those in higher places who should know about our plea have not been told the real story. Okay. And so we don't want anybody to be misled. So once you give us these platforms, basically, is also another way of getting to the president himself and letting him know the real thought processes behind this, because we think we have not been listened to. Look, we said, like I said, we've been doing this for 6 months. And on the issue of our ex-presidents who have done, it is very heartbreaking that we find people in, you know, most of them in power now too, who you think should, you know, the ex-president was talking about a level playing field. Mm-hmm. Look, if you find them behind the CTN, okay, these are people, ex-presidents, who have freight forwarding companies. Now, this CTN thing, the portal as it stands now, is a standalone. It is not connected to any customs, you know, known customs system right now as we speak. Okay. Neither is it connected to any customs platform outside this country. Now they talk about validating documents. All he's relying on is, you know, what is going to be fed into the system on the outside. Now get this, if you talk about pre-validation, you're going to compare it to documents that you, from a particular source. So if you don't have the source documents and you're asking somebody to put it onto your system, now how do you validate that? You understand? So we said, look, there is a better way to do it. First of all, another thing is that there is the illegality of the whole situation, because we have just signed on to the Trade Facilitation Agreement. In Article 10.2.3, it tells you one of the main documents that is required on the CTN is the export country, export country's export document. Yeah. The 10.2.3 it tells you emphatically that do not, it says shall not, no member country who has signed on to this, you know, shall not require that particular document, you know, as a means of, you know, doing your evaluation and all of that. So why would you? So that, first of all, is an illegality. Secondly, you have no way of actually validating that because you are not connected to that main system there. So what is the point? If our ex-presidents are talking about the level playing field, now that is scary. The reason why I say this, and I say this with a, you know, heavy heart, that this system is a standalone. We are going to put our national trade data on a private portal. You and I know in this IT world now what could happen. Anybody could mine the hell out of it. Now, these people who also have freight forwarding companies are behind this. What are they going to do with that information that comes onto that portal? That is a scary thought, my brother.
And what do you think they're actually going to do with that information?
I hold my peace for now.
All right, so, I mean, before you come in, I know that you held a meeting today at the ports with some officials of customs.
Right.
I mean, who exactly did you meet, and what was the outcome of that meeting?
Of course, I don't think much came out of it, because what happened, we were having, standing around the, customs area in Tema. So obviously, the sector commander who is in charge of place obviously had to call us to some, of course, there will be some pressure bearing down on him that, he has to do something about the situation. So he called us, and you see, like I'm saying, this is something that's been running, we've been going over and over. So what we told him was nothing new, because just last week we had met the Deputy Minister for Finance. Yeah. We had laid bare all these things and told them that this is what was going to happen, because after 6 months, if they're not going to listen, okay, we'll find somebody who will listen. Okay. And somehow, if we go ahead with this, then we'll go. The other thing, I think, brother, when you have a policy and you want to solve a particular problem, okay, so you have a solution. Yeah. The other thing is the business aspect. So if you let the business aspect outweigh the solution, then you have a problem. I'm just going to give you some basic figures, and then you make up your mind. Last year, throughput to Tema Harbour was over 953,000 containers. Okay. First of all, when they came to us, they said, okay, the importer in Ghana is not going to pay. We said, what do you mean? If you're going to ask the forwarder out there to do a certain extra bureaucratic process, why would you tell me he's going to pay on our behalf? That is, a fib. And then they changed the tune. Then they said, okay, now GRA is going to pick up the tab for the first 6 months. So, whoa, now you're changing the story. If you're going to pick up the tab, whose money are you going to use to pick up the tab? It is the Ghanaian, taxpayers' money. Okay. So, now let me bring you to these figures I'm talking, why I tell you that this is something that whoever are behind this will push this. I gave you these figures for the throughput to Tema.
953,000.
Let's leave that. So what they're saying is that when you have 2 containers, 2 TEUs, that's a 20 empty unit. If you have 2 of these on a bill of lading, you're going to pay $100. Okay. Okay? All right. These costs are even about 3 or 4-fold. I would explain the rest, but let me give you this. So this is what directly would go to CTN. $100. So 900, let's use that figure, 900,000 containers to Tema Port, 2017. If you split this in 2, just put 2 containers on a bill of lading, you have 450,000. Times $100, we're talking $45 million. Okay,
so now, big money, big money, essentially. So, is the strike going to continue as planned for the 3 days?
Of course, we're going full, full scale. 3 days, we're going. And all around the country, my brother. Not just Tema.
And after 3 days, you're back to work, essentially.
Hey, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
All right. So, Eddie Akron, thank you so very much for joining us on the show. I appreciate you. Well, you're still on the Business Dashboard. We are taking a quick break. When we do return, we'll bring you some more stories on the international front.
Hello and welcome to another day, another week, and of course another episode of 30 Minutes. We're excited and we will be talking about all the trending conversations.
Spend 30 minutes every weekday catching up with all the trending social media conversations of the day. If you tweet it, we'll read it. We might just even Skype you.
Shatta, why are you being so raw and hard like that? But at the particular time, that's what I wanted to do it. But that doesn't mean you are my enemy. We can still meet again and Shatta, this time we are about to do, don't come and do that nonsense. Okay, please, I won't do it. And we'll give respect to each other. But sometimes I feel, when we are all humans. When somebody says something about me, Shatta, hey, I might want to say something. Yeah. So, but when I say it, people shouldn't take it like taking things, personal and stuff. I've understood showbiz now, and I really want to work on it.
30 minutes is all it takes, so use the hashtag 30minutes on social media to catch our attention. Join the most interactive social media TV show weekdays at 5 p.m. only on City TV.
Tune in to The Point of View, Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. as Bernard Avle takes the news further. He will bring the right guest, ask them the relevant questions, and get you the real insights you need on the big stories for the day.
I said, property tax, I will pay. If you come to my house, I'll cut you a check. But when did I do my presentation? February.
Yes.
Or February, yes, sometime. Nobody has come to my house.
Really?
Ghana is broke. And, that's the reality we must all come to live with.
The Point of View with Bernard Avle, Monday and Wednesday nights, only on City TV.
You're welcome back to the Business Dashboard on City TV. I am Bobby Osei. Let's bring you some more stories. Now, owners of Lushan International Energy Ghana Limited, operators of the salt pond oil fields, have disputed an 84.1 million cedi debt attributed to them by defunct UT Bank. The CEO of Lushan International Energy, Quincy Sintim Abuaji, tells City Business News the claims are untrue. In the following report, Pius Amihe Duku looks at the arguments put forward by Mr. Smith Abuaji, absolving his company of any blame.
A report by Builders Advisors stated that Quincy Sintim Abuaji and related companies owed the erstwhile UT Bank to the tune of 84.1 million cedis. But it is emerging, according to claims by Mr. Sintim Abuaji, that UT Bank colluded with a former project manager of Salt Pond Offshore Producing Company, Kennedy Oham, to defraud Lushan and the government of Ghana to the tune of $102.4 million. Again, Mr. Sintim stresses that the duo misrepresented Eclipse purported to be owned by Oham as a subsidiary of Lushan, where bank guarantees were issued to enable the company to defraud Ghana.
Yes, it's not true, because if you look through our activities and what we have uncovered, it will shed light on the truth. And actually, it's the other way around. UT colluded with others and used our letters of credit and the company's account to defraud the company to the tune of about almost $103 million, 102 and some change. But if you average, it's about $103 million. And then also, we've uncovered some documents from the court system, the commercial court, about some bank accounts that UT Bank, some as a Nigerian lady's account that UT Bank used to launder money using the company's name and the letters of credit that we have. They were wiring money into the account, $23 million in the company's name, and the $20 million will go out. You don't know where it came from, you don't know where it went. There's another one for $30 million being taken out, and another one for $11 million. Those are a host of it, and it's in the court system. It's actually exhibits of the court. And when we saw all these collusions that were going on using our accounts, money was being taken from our accounts without our notice.
The unapproved transactions have been ongoing between 2014 and 2015, which obviously contributed to the woes of the Salt Pond oil field. This also means that Lushan Energy is indebted to some of its suppliers, which has become a burden to be cleared. Here is Mr. Sintim Abuaji again.
So what we are doing is talking to them, telling them to hold their peace. All we need to is get back and start production again. And we will negotiate with them to actually start operations again and then get payments. We'll just pay them as we spread and we'll go along the way. So it's something that we have talked to most of them to negotiate terms.
How much are you anticipating to pay eventually?
I don't know for sure. I mean, I need to get my accountant to sit with them. And some of them are not much. Local supplies of food, $18,000, 20,000 cedis, maybe rent for engineers, 25,000. Those are minimal stuff. And now what we're doing is we have an investor who wants to come and pump in money to revitalize the field. And then when they do that, there'll be more production, more revenue, and we can pay.
Lushan is currently pursuing the case in court, and Mr. Sintim Abuaje is hoping that the new managers of defunct UT and Capital Bank, that is GCB Bank, will duly compensate the company.
I think way forward is better than fighting in court. We intend to sit with Ghana Commercial Bank, look at all these details, if the security agencies get involved, and find a win-win situation forward. Because God has blessed Ghana that at Sopon, there's still more oil to be recovered, to make. So there's no need to fight in court about this. And so if they are amenable to negotiation, we can negotiate and look a way forward.
The denial by Lushan brings to 2 the number of companies that have dismissed claims that their indebtedness to UT Bank partly accounted for the bank's collapse. Earlier, the lawyers for engineers and planners encompassing Jata Cement clarified that the bank rather failed to fulfill its part of an agreement to provide credit facility for the construction of a cement factory.
Now, remaining staff of defunct Beige Bank are living in anxiety as over 400 of their colleagues have been asked to exit the company in the next 2 weeks. Those affected include over 100 fresh graduates who were absorbed by the company as part of its corporate social responsibility to work as tellers. Others are workers in the micro banking department who are responsible for small and medium-scale businesses.
The workers of the bank were given 60 days by Consolidated Bank, after which they will be assessed and reappointed. But before the 2 months elapses, some workers have been asked to go home. One of the workers, whose name has been withheld, tells City News they are apprehensive.
We are very, very anxious because the managers and team leads of the micro bank unit are all going. They are actual staff like us. Are not field tellers, they are team leads and managers, but they were in charge of micro banking unit. So they are all going because the department and the unit doesn't exist anymore. And this was done Friday through a meeting. So no one is safe anymore because you can be called, as I am here today, HR can call me and say, come to HR. And then when I go to staff tells me, sorry, but Consolidated Bank says they don't want to work with the operations department anymore. So the whole operations department hand over your tools and go home. So nobody is safe. And to make matters worse, we received our salaries last, and our salaries have been seriously reduced. So we don't know what's going on. Nobody is communicating anything to us. Nobody is saying anything to anyone. You are there, you have to receive information, and you have to comply.
The affected workers comprise tellers as well as field service operators who were responsible for the collection of deposits of majority of Beige Bank's customers who were in the informal sector. The staff also liaised with the branch officers for withdrawals and other services so required by their respective customers. The affected workers have a 2-week window to clear themselves and account for all the company assets. This spans from today, August 27, to Friday, September 7, where they are to reconcile and hand over all documents on all the accounts of their clients to the bank.
Meanwhile, the hundreds of ex-Beige Bank workers being laid off by the Consolidated Bank have been urged to, with immediate effect, get proper representation from labor unions in order to negotiate for befitting exit packages. About a month after the Bank of Ghana consolidated 5 local banks, some employees are set to be released by the Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited. So what options are available to such employees who are seeking better exit packages as they are cut off from the company? There is more in the following report.
Information City Business News is picking up indicates that over 400 workers being released from the erstwhile Beige Bank are set to receive as their exit packages remuneration for the month of August in addition to their welfare benefits. But is this package enough, or should the affected employees be entitled to more? Kofi Ohenio-Bing is the head of industrial relations at the Union of Industry, Commerce and Finance Workers, UNICOF.
Undergoing the major restructuring and being laid off, 1 month's salary as more or less a compensation is woefully inadequate, because these are people who have worked, they've given their all to the bank, and having a situation where they are going to lose their jobs and they are going to stay out of jobs even for a long time. One cannot tell when they will be able to be re-engaged in other employments. In some other countries where you have social support system like unemployment benefits and so on, they could have easily fallen on that. But within our jurisdiction, I think this is really a matter which is open for negotiations.
All right, so Labour expert Austin Gami, however, says the affected workers should endure the exercise as it is a way to save depositors money.
I am shocked that the bank is able to accommodate all these people for even 2 months. It means that is the sacrifice they could also go through. Otherwise, that bank will go down in the next few days because you have overemployed people into the system. That will be the consequence. And already you and I are being called upon as a nation to cough out so many billions of cedis to save depositors' money.
Well, we can now speak to Bertha Anglono, who has been affected by the layoffs at former Beige Bank. Welcome to the Business Dashboard.
Thank you for having me.
So, I mean, how did you receive the news that you've been laid off?
Well, on Friday we were just called to a small meeting in our office and was asked. We were told we've been laid off, just like that. And I represent the direct sales team. I'm a supervisor. Yeah. We've not been paid since July. We haven't received our salary for July. We haven't even heard anything from anybody. We received an email just telling us on the 6th of August that we should give them up to close of the week. That was 10th of August to receive our July pay. Until now, there was no communication, nothing at all, and they expect us to go to work. In fact, when CBG took over the second day, we were in charge. We took charge, and we made sure there was damage control. In fact, I was actually serving customers with water just to calm them down. Yeah. So it's very painful for us to still be in existence, just to wake up one day and be laid off. We are actually the workforce of Beige. In fact, Beige has the most outrageous targets. We are supposed to open 132 accounts per month funded. We have gone through hell. Look at crannies of Accra to open accounts and get them funded, only to wake up one day and be like, fine, we said we should go, so pay us our money. We are demanding to be paid immediately. In fact, we want to receive an alert right now. Latest by in the morning, Tuesday morning, we are demanding it now. And we are also giving them only 2 days to come up with a compensation, a package for us, because we haven't never received insurance, our health was not covered, nothing. We only have a tablet we use on the field. Those things we use, sometimes we have to come in, use our personal money to buy credits for data.
Okay, so not to catch you, but in terms of the package, what specific package are you looking at?
Okay, so tomorrow morning we expect to receive our 2 months pay from July, and then we want 3 months pay as compensation. That is what we are demanding.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Now, are you negotiating? I mean, directly with the employers, or are you working with a labor union to actually do this? What exactly?
I want labor union to come in at this point, because we are helpless. Nobody is representing us. Our supervisors have given up on us. Nobody is there for us. They are all working in their own interest. In fact, we are here because they are working in their own interest. When we were told on the 11th of July that we have been absorbed as staff of Beige. So when CBG took over, we were supposed to be absorbed as staff of CBG. Only to come up that we are outsourced staff. What do they mean? Tell me, because they laid off over 500 people even before 6th July.
Okay, so we're about to wrap up now. I mean, before we go, what if they do not give you or satisfy the conditions you've set? What will be your next line of action?
We'll be striking. We'll pick it at their head office, CBG and Beige. That is our plan.
All right, Bertha. Okay. I'm very grateful for your time. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much.
Well, you have been watching the Business Dashboard on City TV. My name is Bobby Osei. Before we go, let's take a look at our website, where you can get some of the top business stories around the country and around the world. Well, many thanks for joining us for today's edition of the Business Dashboard on City TV. My name is Bubi Osei. We'll catch you tomorrow with more of the latest news from the world of business. Bye-bye.
This is DW News live from Berlin. The German Chancellor condemns far-right street mobs who are, quote, hunting down foreigners. Anti-immigrant protesters have been taking to the streets in the eastern German city of Chemnitz over the killing of a German man. A Syrian and an Iraqi national have since appeared in court in connection with the death. We will go there live. Also coming up, UN investigators call for genocide charges against Myanmar's military leaders. In a damning report on Myanmar's crackdown on the Rohingya, the UN says that military commanders must be investigated for crimes against humanity. And it's a big day for trade, says the U.S. president. After a year of talks, Donald Trump announces, quote, a really good deal with Mexico. But will Canada now sign up too to create a new version of NAFTA? I'm Sarah Kelly. Welcome to the program. We begin with far-right protests in Germany. This after a Syrian and an Iraqi national appeared in court in connection with the killing of a German national earlier on Sunday morning. The incident sparked violent anti-immigrant clashes in the East German city of Chemnitz. Police say that a crowd of some 800 far-right demonstrators refused to disperse and marched through the city center. The German government has sharply condemned the actions of the protesters who reportedly targeted people that they believed to be foreigners.
Far-right demonstrators clash with police in Chemnitz city centre. Batons versus bottles, leading to more officers being drafted in from neighbouring Dresden and Leipzig to cope. This is our city, they chant, in this video shared on Twitter. They're protesting against what they see as a rise in crime committed by foreigners. The unrest follows the death of a 35-year-old German man in the early hours of Sunday during the city's annual street festival. He died from his injuries in hospital after being attacked with a knife. 2 other men were seriously injured. Government spokesperson Stefan Seibert stressed that the events in Chemnitz had no